Hi everyone, I am the Beardy Red Viking, and these are 10 albums where the title track is the best song. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to be running through 10 albums where the title track is the best song. This is an idea come up with by Thomas over at the Merciful Metal channel. Thomas is a great guy, really dry, really funny, really sound nice dude. Loves his old school metal, doesn't listen to anything from before about 1993, I don't think. He loves his OG vinyl, and yeah, he's a great guy, fantastic channel. If you don't know him, make sure you check him out. Down below in the description I will leave a link so you can go and look at his channel and check out his videos. But yeah, he came up with this idea and started a thread a couple of days ago as I'm recording this. A few people have started responding to it and I thought I would join in. So let's get started. Now I'm going to start off with probably the first metal album that was ever recorded. The first heavy metal album ever released. Black Sabbath, with the album Black Sabbath and the opening track, Black Sabbath. Need I say more? There might be people who would argue there are better songs on this album. The Wizard's a great song, NIB's a great song. I can't read the writing, but there's plenty of great songs on here. A fantastic band. The band that started it all, a fantastic album, and an absolutely fucking brilliant intro to the world of heavy metal. It's dark, it's foreboding, it's brilliant, and yeah, it's the best song on the album, in my humble opinion. Next, we have Megadeth with Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? This could have gone on another thread that I've been thinking about doing recently, that Metal Mickey started, about awesome album titles, because that is an awesome album title, because who is buying? No one. But anyway, Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? Again, fantastic songs on here. Wake Up Dead, The Conjuring, Devil's Island, Bad Omen. Brilliant album. It's their second full length from 1986, and the title track, Peace Sells, is the best on the album, again, in my humble opinion. Testament with Practice What You Preach. This is their third album from 1989. These Bay Area thrash legends. Again, it's the opening track, Practice What You Preach, funnily enough. Again, there's loads of great songs on here. It's a brilliant album. I don't think it's quite as strong as the first two, but it's still a fantastic album. Looking at the names of the songs, there's no doubt for a second that Practice What You Preach is the standout track from this album. And yeah, great album, but Practice What You Preach is still a live staple now, I believe. It certainly was the last time I saw them. I'd not seen them for a few years now, actually. I think the last time I saw them was probably about 2009 or something. But yeah, it was certainly still in the set list then, and I assume it still will be now because it's a cracker. Practice What You Preach by Testament. Next for me is Cowboys from Hell by Pantera. Funnily enough, again, this is the opening track on this album. And again, this album is full of absolutely brilliant songs. Loads of people really don't like Primal Concrete Sledge, and I didn't when I first got into Pantera. This is the first album by them I ever bought. So Cowboys from Hell was actually the first Pantera song I ever heard. But yeah, I like Primal Concrete Sledge these days. Psycho Holiday, Heresy is a fucking banger. Cemetery Gates, brilliant. Domination, superb. The Sleep, the guitar solos on that are some of the best ever written. Great song. It's a fantastic album through and through. Pantera would have you believe it was their debut album, but they'd actually done 4 before that, but they don't like the sound of the glam metal that they made previously, or Phil Anselmo doesn't like the sound of the glam metal stuff that they did previously, so they try and make out these days that it was the first album. Bollocks. But yeah, it's a great album. Cowboys from Hell is a fantastic song. That intro, the way it builds, great riff, amazing song. And yeah, there's some other blinders on here. Cemetery Gates, it's difficult to say it's better than that, but I personally prefer the title track, Cowboys from Hell. Next is Judas Priest. The album is Painkiller, so the song, obviously, is Painkiller. Again, the opening track. Definitely a bit of a theme going on here. Some classic artwork. The last album that Rob Halford recorded with Judas Priest back in 1990, before he left for a few years and he was replaced by Tim Ripper Owens, who I think did a decent job, certainly on Jugulator. But yeah, he came back some point in the early 2000s, I think it was. And but yeah, Painkiller, absolutely brilliant song. For me, it's probably my favourite Judas Priest song, full stop. I know a lot of people will say, who are you? What are you? What are you talking about? But for me, I absolutely love it. Judas Priest, Painkiller. Next up is something a little bit heavier. It's Carcass with Heartwork. This is the fourth album by these Liverpudlian, previously gore grind monsters, turned bit melodic death metal on the previous album, and they definitely doubled down on that with this one in 1993. Earache Records release. It was a landmark release for the band and for the melodic death metal genre itself. And again, there's some great songs on here. I love No Love Lost, Carnal Forge, Embodiment, Buried Dreams, Death Certificate. It's a great album. Again, pretty much a theme with nearly all of these albums, if not all of them. Fantastic album, but for me, the title track, Heartwork, is the standout. Again, it's the first Carcass song I ever heard, and it blew my mind, and I went out and bought the album immediately. This is a 2008 reissue. It came on one of those weird, where is it? One of those weird dual discs, so it's DVD on one side and CD on the other. There's some making of stuff and interview with the band stuff on the other side. There's 5 of them. Obviously the first 5 albums were released on that. It came out in a little set and I got a little box that you put them in. Don't know why I'm waffling about that, but yeah, I am doing. But yeah, Heartwork by Carcass, fantastic song, best song on the album. Next is Opeth's Deliverance. This was part 1 of a double part album. Well, it wasn't a double part album, it was 2 albums. There was Deliverance, which came out first, and Damnation came out second. This was the heavy one. Damnation was a more folky acoustic album. It's an absolute masterpiece. And yeah, 2002 it came out. It was the 6th album. The title track, Deliverance, is about 13 minutes of absolutely brilliant technical, but not in a tech death kind of way. But it's rhythmic, it's heavy, it's absolutely pummeling, and it just builds and builds and builds. It's still a staple in their set to this day. Again, classic album, but for me, Deliverance is the standout track. Opeth, Deliverance, from the album Deliverance. Okay, so we're going to move on to some vinyl. First up, Hell Awaits by Slayer. Brilliant artwork, brilliant album. Obviously, classic band, classic album. There's some fantastic songs on here, like At Dawn They Sleep is brilliant. Necrophobic's on Rain and Blood. Necrophiliac, Kill Again. But Hell Awaits opens, it builds, it's ominous, it's evil, and it's an absolutely fantastic song. Need I say more? Hell Awaits from Slayer, 1985, second record. The first track on the album, once again, is the best. Hell Awaits. You knew it was coming, didn't you? I had to include Metallica. I include them pretty much all the time. But yeah, Master of Puppets. I don't think too many people are going to argue with me that it's one of the greatest songs ever written. It's one of the greatest thrash metal albums of all time, one of the greatest albums of all time. But yeah, every single song on here, in my opinion, is absolutely superb. Battery, what an opening track. obviously Master of Puppets, the title track, an absolute classic. They played it live, I think, more than any other song. Possibly might be knocked down slightly by Seek and Destroy, but obviously that was out a few years earlier. But anyway, absolutely fantastic album. Every song is brilliant. Sanitarium, Welcome Home Sanitarium, should I say. I've always just called it Sanitarium, but yeah, officially it's called Welcome Home Sanitarium. The Thing That Should Not Be, an absolute stomper. Disposable Heroes, a thrash masterpiece. Leper Messiah, Orion, Damage Inc. Every song is superb. So to say that any is the best is quite an accomplishment. But Master of Puppets, yeah, it's the best song on an absolutely amazing album. Next up is Left Hand Path by Entombed. Absolute classic death metal debut from these Swedish dudes. 1989 debut album with the classic picture on the back there. Some great songs on here, absolutely full of them. Supposed to Rot, Revel in Flesh, Bitter Loss, Morbid Devourment, Abnormally Deceased. Every song is fucking great. There's that kebab on the back there again with a little bit of salad. I'm not sure what the teeth are all about, but yeah. Yeah, I absolutely fucking love this album. It's one of my favourite death metal albums. Entombed are a fucking great band. But yeah, again, Left Hand Path is the first song I ever heard by this band, and it's stuck with me. It's my favourite Entombed song. It's my favourite song on this album. Entombed, Left Hand Path. Finally is Violent Revolution by Kreator. This was their 10th album, I believe it was. It came out in about 2001. Again, this was the first song I ever heard by this band. I was still getting into the more extreme side of metal at this point in time. 2001 it came out. It was probably about 2002, maybe even 2003 before I heard it. It was my introduction to this band. It's the third song on this album. And this album is full of bangers. Like pretty much every album I've mentioned, I've said that a lot. But yeah, this song definitely stuck with me. It's the return to form, I would think a lot of people would say, for Kreator. Obviously, they went through that weird period in the 90s and very early 2000s with the sort of industrial and goth sounds of 3 or 4 albums in between their classics and this one. But yeah, I absolutely love this album, and the song itself, Violent Revolution, it's still probably one of my favourite Kreator songs to this day. I absolutely love it. Yeah, Kreator, Violent Revolution. So that concludes my list of 10 albums where the title track is, in my humble opinion, of course, the best song on the album. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy it, I'd appreciate it if you could leave a like down below. And if you want to see more of my videos as and when I make them, you can also subscribe down below too. I hope to see you all in the comments. Thanks again. Take care. Beardy Red Viking, out.